on, you will be playing Victor Frankenstein.
Tell me about your mother.
My mother? She was always so good to me when I was little. I remember she would always spend a lot of time with the kids, and she gave me Elizabeth. I remember always spending so much time with her. She was mine. She was my best friend.
Please explain to me your time at school.
It was shortly after my mother died. I went away to school, and I tried to follow through with the studies I'd taken so much of an interest to when I was young. The old Agrippa's books, the old sciences that were forgotten now, but they were so interesting to me. And in school, I really thrived in this environment of just learning and just experiencing all these new things. And I really started to merge a lot of my beliefs with the old sciences that I had come to love when I was so young, with a lot of the new theories and a lot of the new things that were going on now. And I took on a whole new view of my scientific mindset, I guess you could say, a bit of a combination of new and old to create something entirely new.
Tell me about your wedding night.
I remember I was so happy to finally marry Elizabeth, but at the same time, I remembered the warning that the creature had given me so long ago that he would be there on my wedding night, and I knew he was coming, and I thought it would be for me. I knew I was looking forward to it because it would put an end to all my troubles, but it would finally bring things to a head, bring things to a close, and there'd be a little bit of rest, a little bit of peace. But he took Elizabeth, and it all kind of fell apart from there.
Tell me about your creature that you made and what led up to that.
I always wanted to be known. I wanted to be great for something. I came from a very important family in Switzerland, and I wanted to be so bad to be known that I didn't look at any of the consequences of my actions, of anything. I created the creature purely to be known for something great, to do something the impossible, to give life, to play God. But it wasn't. The consequences of that act were terrific.
So, tell me about your relationship with Clerval.
He was always there for me since we were kids. I would always get carried away and everything else, away from the world, and he'd always be there to bring me back. Whenever I had troubles or consequences, they would affect me, but I never really suffered the results. He was always there to take the blow, take the blame, and bring me back into my full health. But there are some secrets that you have to keep from your friends, especially from your friends, because you know how they would feel about it, and they'd be that more ashamed of you, and you'd be ashamed of yourself. So there's some things you just can't tell them.
Explain to me your issues with the creature.
The creature, ever since the day of his creation, when I shunned him and sent him out, he's always been looking for revenge. He's been looking to fit in, but hating me at the same time for putting in a situation where he never will fit in. When he killed William, I knew it was my fault, and I couldn't help but feel terribly guilty for it. He found me after that and tried to convince me to create a second creature like him so that he would have a companion in his misery. I wanted to refuse really badly. I didn't think of any other way, but he convinced me finally. I pitied him. I pitied what he went through, and I had to relent, so I agreed to create the monster, but the entire time I was reluctant to do it. Eventually I finally saw that creating the monster wouldn't change things. It wouldn't help too much. I didn't think that I was the right person to make the choice that could possibly affect the world for the rest of mankind and affect the entire human race. I was afraid, but making that choice, the consequences weren't mine either way of the outcome. And it was my loved ones who took the blow. It wasn't me.
Explain to me your quest that you seem to have set yourself on for hunting down this creature you've created.
After everything in my life was taken from me, the only thing I could focus my mind on to set as a new goal, one new thing, was to try and make some small amends to what I had done. I had nothing left to live for except for one thing, and that was to stop the creature from hurting anyone else, from continuing his path of destruction. I searched him out. I hunted him down everywhere I could. I followed rumors. I tracked him physically if I had to, a passion that it wasn't matched anywhere else. he was always one step ahead, always eluded me, but he knew I was following, and he allowed me to follow him, because otherwise I never would have stayed close. He could have eluded me easily.
Explain to me your depression you've been dealing with lately.
Every time that I had suffered some new consequence of my actions brought on by the creature killing someone new, someone else that's close to me, or even it was just a natural death like what my mother went through. Every time my emotions, my mindset it would leave me open to all disease, to all sickness, and I would be ridden with disease. It was usually Clerval there to bring me back, but some of the times I was there just by myself. I had no one to rely on, and there weren't very many chances of me coming back.
The character Victor Frankenstein has a huge amount of selfishness. And because as a child he was spoiled, he has a certain sense of self-deservance. Victor's relationship with Elizabeth is an example of his selfishness. He views her more as an object than as a person, as he always says she's mine and such, and that his mother gave her to him. But this is also a suggestion that he is semi-incestual with Elizabeth, despite the fact that they're not actually siblings. His act in creating the creature, without foresight of the repercussions the creature and mankind would have to suffer, Victor created the creature simply out of his own desires and uses reason to justify these passions of using the old sciences. And Victor's insistence upon fate versus free will. Victor believes that it is his fate that determined his bad choices rather than his own free will. And he blames his fate as the cause rather than his actual actions, which shows how selfish he is and that he won't even take his own repercussions.